Amara Collins had never seen the stars, but she could feel them. Born blind on Earth in 2189, she had a special gift for sensing vibrations that most people could not detect. The doctors had given her neural implants when she was young, and these made her gift even stronger. Her fingers could feel patterns and sound waves that no one else noticed, which had made her one of the best music writers at the North American School of Space Music. Now, at age 32, Amara had earned a special job on the spaceship USS Harmony. This was the first cultural mission to the Centauri colonies where humans had settled decades ago. Earth's relationship with this first human space colony had grown difficult over the years. This mission was meant to help fix those problems through sharing art and music. "Dr. Collins, we will dock at Proxima Station in about 15 minutes, said Lieutenant Sam Baker through the speaker in her room. Amara's hands moved across her special touchscreen, feeling the vibrations that created a picture in her mind of the approaching space station. "Thank you, Lieutenant, I will be ready." The people in the Centauri colonies had developed their own culture in the 70 years since they left Earth. They had made new advances in music theory that had impressed many back on Earth. The most famous musician in the colonies was Victor Harlow, a piano player known throughout human space. His music used math patterns that he claimed showed the special gravity waves of the Alpha Centauri star system. Amara had studied his work for years, but often said it lacked feeling. In her view, Harlow's music had perfect technique but no soul. She had written this in several papers, starting a debate that had crossed the stars between Earth and the colonies. But she and Harlow had never met in person, until today. Amara packed her things carefully, making sure her special instrument was secure. The synth harp responded to both touch and thoughts through her neural implants. Unlike old instruments, it could make any sound she could imagine, turning math directly into music. "Are you nervous?" asked Lily Rodriguez, her assistant who had been assigned to help her navigate the space station. "A little," Amara admitted. "This mission means a lot for Earth-Centauri relations." The ship docked with a gentle bump. Amara felt the change in vibrations as the ship's engines powered down, and the station's gravity took over. She stood and smoothed down her formal blue uniform that marked her as part of the Earth diplomatic team. "The welcome reception starts in 2 hours," Lily said. "Ambassador Fletcher wants all team members to be present and on their best behavior." Amara nodded. She understood the importance. The colonies had been talking about full independence from Earth for years. Some people feared this could lead to conflict if not handled carefully. Music and art were seen as safe ways to rebuild connections between the two worlds. Their quarters on the station were larger than on the ship. Amara walked the space slowly, building a mental map as her neural implants sent data to her brain about distances and objects. The station had artificial gravity set slightly lighter than Earth normal, making her feel a bit bouncy as she walked. "The cultural exchange will last 2 weeks," Lily said, reading from her datapad. "Your main performance is scheduled for day 3, but there's a demonstration expected at tonight's reception too." Amara sat at the small desk and connected her neural interface to the station's information network. She wanted to learn more about recent developments in Centauri music before meeting anyone. As data flowed into her mind, she noticed something odd about the pattern of certain files. They seemed to be organized in a way that didn't make musical sense. Before she could explore further, it was time to get ready for the reception. The grand hall of Proxima Station filled with voices and movement. Amara's neural implants helped her navigate the space, quietly describing the room and identifying people who came near. Floating displays showed art and achievements from both Earth and the colonies, though Amara could only experience them through the descriptions in her interface. "Dr. Collins," said Ambassador Greg Fletcher, his voice warm as he approached. "I'm glad you made it. There are several colonial musicians eager to meet you." "I look forward to it," she said. "Their work has taken interesting directions since the split." Fletcher lowered his voice. "Just be careful with Harlow if he approaches. He didn't take your criticisms well, and he has considerable influence here." Amara nodded. She had never meant to create an enemy, only to engage in honest academic discussion. Lily had stepped away to get drinks, leaving Amara alone for a moment near the refreshment table. She felt a shift in the air as someone approached, the subtle change in sound waves that her enhanced senses detected easily. "So you're the famous Dr. Collins," said a voice with the stretched vowels and sharp consonants of the Centauri accent. Her interface identified him immediately, Victor Harlow. "Mr. Harlow," she replied, extending her hand in the Earth greeting style. "Your work has given me much to think about over the years." His handshake was quick and cold. "Interesting that they sent a blind woman to appreciate our visual arts as well as our music." His words hung in the air. Nearby conversations stopped suddenly. "I'm mainly here for the music exchange," Amara said calmly. "Yes, I've read what you wrote about my work. Very bold for someone who experiences music in such a limited way." He spoke just loud enough for others to hear. "I wonder how you can judge the math perfection of music you cannot see on paper." Ambassador Fletcher stepped forward quickly. "Dr. Collins is one of our most respected music writers. Theory without complete perception seems like a big disadvantage," Harlow cut in. "Perhaps on Earth they value having different types of people over having different types of quality music." Amara felt anger rising in her chest, but kept her face calm. "Would you like to test that theory, Mr. Harlow? A demonstration, perhaps?" She could hear the smile in his voice. "I would be happy to. Tomorrow at the formal concert, I'll even let you use one of my instruments, though I doubt you'll understand the harmonic advances we've developed here." "I look forward to it," Amara replied, her voice steady despite the whispers now moving through the hall. After Harlow walked away, Ambassador Fletcher touched her arm gently. "You don't have to do this, Amara." "Yes," she said quietly. "I do." As the reception continued, Amara noticed something strange in the vibrations coming from Harlow's direction when he played a short piece for the guests. The patterns didn't match what she had studied in his published works. There was something hidden in the music, something that didn't belong, and suddenly she realized this trip might be about much more than cultural exchange. There was a mystery in Harlow's music, and she was perhaps the only person who could feel it. Back in her room, Amara sat with her fingers moving across her special interface. She was exploring the math patterns in Centauri music, trying to understand what she had felt in Harlow's playing. Lily sat nearby, clearly worried about what had happened at the reception. "He tried to make you look bad in front of everyone," Lily said. "This isn't just about music for him." "No," Amara agreed. "It's about fear. Earth and the colonies have been growing apart for years. When I criticized his work, I hit something deeper than just his pride." Amara worked through the night, her neural implants connecting directly to the station's computer system. As the station's time showed early morning, she found something strange in the patterns of Harlow's most famous music pieces. "Lily, look at this pattern," she said, sending the data to her helper's screen. "The math doesn't just show Centauri gravity patterns like he claims." Lily gasped. "These match communication frequencies, military communication frequencies." Amara nodded. "His music has hidden patterns that match colonial defense codes. I wonder if he knows about it." "You think someone else is using his music to hide messages? Or he's using his fame to cover something else?" Amara replied. "Either way, I need to learn more before I play tonight." She reached for her synth harp. Unlike old instruments, it could make any sound and could translate math directly into music. It also responded to both her touch and her thoughts through her neural implants. "I need to see data from this station's sensors," Amara said. "From every time Harlow has played in public for the past 5 years." Lily paused. "We don't have permission to access that." Amara's fingers kept moving across her interface. "Then it's good that Ambassador Fletcher does, and he owes me after last night." 2 hours later, Ambassador Fletcher sat in their room, looking troubled by what Amara had shown him. "If you're right about this, the situation is worse than we thought," he said. "Some colonial groups want full independence from Earth. A few extremists might even consider military action. I think Harlow's music contains hidden code," Amara explained. "Each performance shares a small piece. When put together, they could give access to Earth's defense systems. Fletcher frowned. That's a serious claim. We need proof before taking action. Tonight's performance will give us that proof, Amara said. I can use my synth harp to reveal the patterns so everyone can hear them. Be careful, Fletcher warned. If Harlow is involved in a plot against Earth, he won't let you expose him easily. After Fletcher left, Amara prepared for the concert. She practiced on her synth harp, creating a special program that would help reveal the hidden patterns in Harlow's music. Her fingers moved quickly across the strings, feeling each vibration and making small adjustments. What if you're wrong? Lily asked. Amara paused. Then I'll look foolish in front of important people from two worlds. But if I'm right, we might prevent something terrible. As evening approached, Amara dressed in her formal Earth uniform with its subtle blue and silver colors. Lily helped arrange her curly black hair in a simple but elegant style. You look ready to make history, Lily said. Amara smiled slightly. Let's hope it's the good kind of history. The concert hall of Proxima Station was built to create perfect sound. 300 colonial leaders and 50 Earth representatives filled the seats. Security was tight, with guards at all doors. Amara could sense the tension in the room as she was led to her place backstage. Captain Diane Powell of the USS Harmony approached her. Dr. Collins, we've quietly increased security based on your information. If something happens, follow your security officer's instructions immediately. Amara nodded. A security officer named Owen Matthews had been assigned to stay near her during the performance. Mr. Harlow has requested to speak with you before the concert, Matthews said. I'll come with you, Lily started, but Amara shook her head. No, I need you to make sure my instrument is properly set up. I'll be fine with Officer Matthews. They walked to a small room where Harlow waited. As they entered, Amara's neural implants detected only one other person in the room. Dr. Collins, Harlow said smoothly. I wanted to wish you luck before our performances. Thank you, she replied, staying near the door. I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious about your approach tonight, he said, his voice friendly but with something cold underneath. Will you be playing one of your Earth compositions? I've prepared something special, Amara said carefully. It explores the connection between Earth and Centauri musical traditions. There was a pause before Harlow spoke again. Connections are important, aren't they? Some connections should remain strong, while others perhaps need to be severed. Amara felt a chill at his words. What connections are you referring to, Mr. Harlow? He stepped closer. Officer Matthews tensed beside her. Earth has held the colonies back for too long, Dr. Collins. Control through economics, through culture, through military presence. Some of us believe true progress can only come with complete separation. And your music helps with that separation? Amara asked directly. She felt him stiffen. My music speaks for itself. I simply find it interesting that they sent someone with your particular limitations to evaluate it. Before Amara could respond, the concert hall announcer called for the performers to take their places. It seems we must continue this discussion through our art, Harlow said. After you, Dr. Collins. The stage felt vast as Amara walked out, guided by Officer Matthews, who described the layout in quiet tones. Center stage held two instruments, Harlow's special piano made on Centauri, and beside it, Amara's synth harp. The announcer introduced Harlow first. The audience applauded loudly as he took his place at the piano. Then came a brief silence before he began to play. His fingers moved with perfect precision across the keys, creating complex patterns of sound that filled the hall. Amara listened carefully, using her enhanced senses to detect the hidden patterns beneath the music. There they were, subtle code sequences that didn't belong in a musical composition. When Harlow finished, the colonial audience cheered while the Earth delegation clapped politely. Amara could feel Harlow's confidence as he turned toward her. Your turn, Dr. Collins, he said loudly enough for the front rows to hear. Feel free to use my piano, though I understand if you prefer your special instrument. Amara stepped forward confidently despite the unfamiliar stage. Actually, I'd like to try something different. With your permission, I'll use both. Surprised whispers rippled through the audience. Harlow paused before answering. By all means, he finally said, stepping away from his piano. Amara positioned herself between the two instruments. She placed one hand on the piano keys and the other on her synth harp. Through her neural implants, she connected to the station's sound system. My piece is called Convergence, she announced to the audience. It explores how Earth and Centauri music can come together. She took a deep breath and began to play. The first notes from Amara's fingers were simple and old, the earliest music patterns from Earth's history. The sounds filled the concert hall, pure and clear. Then slowly, she added Centauri sounds, her left hand on the piano making Harlow's special math patterns while her right hand on the synth harp created matching sounds that shouldn't have worked together but somehow did. As her music grew, the relationship between the patterns began to change. The Earth melodies didn't just go along with the Centauri math. They showed something hidden inside them. Secret patterns became clear to everyone as Amara's synth harp made them louder and easier to hear. In the middle of her playing, Amara added something new, the real gravity sounds of the Alpha Centauri star system, recorded by space sensors and turned into music. These sounds were like Harlow's music, but different in key ways that everyone could now hear. The audience began to understand. There was a difference between what Harlow said his music meant and what it actually contained. Harlow stood up suddenly. This is wrong. She's changing my music with her machine. But Amara kept playing, her face calm as her full piece unfolded. The final part brought together Earth traditions and true Centauri sounds in a new mathematical pattern that made something completely new. A musical answer that showed how the two cultures could work together. When she finished, the hall stayed quiet for several long seconds. Then someone began to clap. Another joined, then another, until the whole hall erupted in loud applause. Amara stood between the two instruments, her unseeing eyes wet with emotion. All except for Harlow, and a few colonial officials near the back door, who were quickly and quietly leaving the hall. Officer Matthews was suddenly at her side. Dr. Collins, we need to move you backstage immediately. Amara nodded, understanding the urgency in his voice. As they moved off stage, she heard commotion at the back of the hall. What's happening? She asked. Security is stopping Harlow and several others from leaving, Matthews explained as he guided her through a side door. Ambassador Fletcher ordered their detention based on what your music revealed. Backstage was busy with activity. Lily rushed to Amara's side, her voice excited. That was amazing. Everyone could hear the patterns you found. Even the colonial leaders looked shocked. Captain Powell approached them. Dr. Collins, we need you in the secure room. Things are happening quickly. They moved through the station, corridors to a small room with special protections against listening devices. Inside waited Ambassador Fletcher and several security officers. Your performance worked better than we hoped, Fletcher said. When you showed the difference between actual Centauri gravity patterns and what Harlow has been putting in his music, several colonial officials tried to leave immediately. That confirmed our suspicions. Have they admitted anything? Amara asked. Not yet, Captain Powell said. But we found communication devices on 3 of them that don't match any approved technology. And Harlow had data storage in his piano that contains partial Earth defense codes. Amara sat down, feeling suddenly tired after the intense performance. So I was right. His music has been sending coded messages. More than that, Fletcher explained. Each piece he performed contained a different part of a master code. When put together, they could give someone control over Earth's space defense systems. Who would do this? Lily asked. And why? One of the security officers spoke up. We believe it's a group called the Centauri Independence Front. They want total separation from Earth, and they're willing to use force to get it. The colonial government seems just as surprised as we are, Fletcher added. Most colonists want peaceful independence, not war. Amara thought for a moment. The math in Harlow's music was clever, but it never connected to either Centauri or Earth traditions in a real way. That's what first made me suspicious. True art, even new art, keeps some connection to what came before. Captain Powell looked impressed. Your sensitivity to sound patterns helped you notice what our security scans missed for years. A communication signal chimed, and one of the officers answered it. After a brief exchange, he turned to the group. Colonial Security has found a hidden transmission center in the lower levels of the station. They were planning to send the complete code to cells across the Centauri system tomorrow. What would have happened if they succeeded? Lily asked. Captain Powell's voice was grim. They could have shut down Earth's defense grid long enough to launch attacks on key military targets. It could have started a war. Amara shook her head. All hidden in music that people praised as brilliant. Ambassador Fletcher put a hand on her shoulder. Your performance didn't just expose the plot, it showed another way forward. The colonial governor has requested a meeting with both of us tomorrow. She was very moved by your convergence piece. Later that night, Amara sat alone in her room, her fingers moving across her synth harp as she thought about the day's events. A soft knock at her door interrupted her playing. "Come in," she called. Lily entered, bringing the smell of hot tea with her. "I thought you might want this. It's been quite a day." "Thank you," Amara said, accepting the cup. "Have they learned more from Harlow?" "Yes," Lily said, sitting across from her. "He's been working with the Independence Group for years. They recruited him because of his musical skills and fame. His concerts were the perfect cover for spreading their code." Amara sipped her tea. "Did he believe in their cause, or was he just being used?" "Both, it seems. He was angry about Earth's continued influence over colonial affairs, but the military leaders were using his ego to further their plans. They told him he was helping create a peaceful separation, not preparing for attacks. And he believed them?" Lily sighed. "People often believe what they want to hear. His fame here made him feel important, and the extremists used that." A message tone sounded from Amara's interface. She touched it to receive the information. "The colonial governor has scheduled an emergency assembly tomorrow. All colonial officials in our delegation are required to attend," she told Lily. "They want me to perform convergence again." "Your music changed everything," Lily said. "It didn't just expose the plot, it gave people a new way to think about the relationship between Earth and the colonies." Amara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. Music has always been able to say things that words cannot. That's why it was the perfect hiding place for their code, and why it was the best way to reveal the truth. "What will happen to Harlow?" Lily asked. "I don't know," Amara replied honestly. "His actions could have led to war, but he may not have understood the full plan. That will be for others to decide." She set down her tea and returned her fingers to the synth harp. "For tomorrow's performance, I want to create something new, a piece that honors both worlds but looks toward a shared future." As her fingers moved across the strings, new patterns emerged, not just a combination of Earth and Centauri traditions, but something truly new that could only exist because of their differences and connections. In the station above a distant star, a blind woman from Earth composed a new harmony for two worlds that had almost been driven to war. And for the first time in years, representatives from both Earth and the colonies would listen together. The next morning, Amara woke early to continue working on her new composition. Her fingers moved across her synth harp, testing different sound patterns. She wanted today's music to help heal the divide between Earth and the colonies that Harlow and his group had tried to make worse. A message alert sounded from her interface. "Dr. Collins," came Captain Powell's voice. "The colonial governor requests to meet with you before the assembly. Can you be ready in 30 minutes? "Yes, Captain," Amara replied. "Will Ambassador Fletcher be there?" "He will join you. A security team will escort you both." Lily helped Amara dress in her formal uniform. "Are you nervous about meeting the governor?" "A little," Amara admitted. "Governor Ellis has led the push for colonial independence, but they say she wants peaceful separation, not war. Your music showed everyone the difference between those two paths," Lily said. 30 minutes later, Amara walked with Ambassador Fletcher through the station's upper levels, where colonial leadership had their offices. Security officers walked in front and behind them. The governor was deeply affected by your performance, son, Fletcher told her. She had no idea Harlow was embedding military codes in his concerts. Do you believe her? Amara asked. Fletcher paused. I do. Our intelligence shows she's been pushing back against military leaders who want faster action. She believes in independence, but not through violence. They arrived at a large door where 2 colonial guards checked their identities before letting them enter. The room beyond was spacious with a large window showing the stars outside the station. Dr. Collins, Ambassador Fletcher, a woman's voice greeted them. Thank you for coming. Amara's interface identified the speaker as Governor Maria Ellis, elected leader of the Centauri colonies for the past 6 years. Governor, Amara said, extending her hand, I appreciate you meeting with us. The governor's handshake was firm, but warm. Please, sit down. We have much to discuss before the assembly. After they were seated, Governor Ellis spoke directly. Dr. Collins, your performance yesterday revealed a plot that I find deeply disturbing. 7 colonial officials have been arrested, along with Harlow. They admit they were planning to use the complete code to disable Earth's defenses. For what purpose? Fletcher asked. Their plan was to force Earth to recognize full colonial independence by showing our military power, Ellis explained. They believed a quick strike against key targets would force Earth to negotiate without starting a full war. That's a dangerous gamble, Amara said. Extremely dangerous, Ellis agreed. Which is why I'm grateful you uncovered it. But now we face a difficult situation. News of the plot is spreading through the colonies. Some people see the plotters as heroes, others as dangerous extremists. Fletcher leaned forward. What are you proposing, Governor? I want Dr. Collins to perform at today's assembly just as planned, but I'd like to join her performance with some of our colonial musicians who were not involved with Harlow's group. A true collaboration between our worlds. Amara considered this. A musical statement showing another way forward. Exactly, Ellis said. Words will not heal this divide as effectively as showing a new path. Your convergence piece already started that process. I've been working on something new this morning, Amara offered. A piece that builds on that idea but goes further. Perfect, Ellis said, her voice showing true emotion. I've arranged for 3 of our best musicians to join you if you're willing. They've studied your work and are eager to collaborate. When would we practice? Amara asked. The assembly is in a few hours. They're waiting in the concert hall now, Ellis said. If you agree, we can go there directly. Amara turned to Fletcher. Ambassador? He nodded. This is exactly the kind of cultural exchange our mission was meant to create. I support it fully. 2 hours later, Amara sat with her new collaborators in a small room behind the concert hall stage. They had worked quickly to combine her new composition with their playing styles, creating something that none of them could have made alone. Your ability to adapt is impressive, said Karen Wells, a Centauri string player. Most Earth musicians find our harmonic patterns difficult to incorporate. And your willingness to try Earth traditions shows real openness, Amara replied. Our differences make the music stronger, not weaker. That's the message people need to hear today, said Dan Foster, who played a Centauri wind instrument developed in the colony's slightly different air mixture. The third musician, Zoe Blake, who worked with electronic sound patterns, checked the time. We should prepare. The hall is filling up. Amara could feel the tension in the room. Are you worried about playing this piece? It clearly challenges what Harlow stood for. A little, Karen admitted. Some people here admired him greatly. But his music never truly represented our Centauri experience, it only pretended to. Your ability to hear that despite being blind is remarkable, Dan added. Amara smiled slightly. Sometimes not seeing lets you hear more clearly. I wasn't distracted by Harlow's fame or technical skill. I could focus only on what the music actually contained. A station official entered. 5 minutes until the assembly begins. All performers should take their places now. As they walked toward the stage, Amara could hear the murmur of a much larger crowd than yesterday. Her interface told her that the performance was being broadcast throughout the colonies and back to Earth. "How many people will be watching?" she asked Zoe quietly. "Probably 1 billion across both worlds," Zoe replied. "No pressure." Amara laughed softly. "Just like a small practice session, then." They took their positions on stage. Through her neural implants, Amara could sense the huge audience filing the concert hall. Colonial leaders sat on one side, the Earth delegation on the other. Governor Ellis and Ambassador Fletcher sat together in the center, a visible symbol of cooperation. Ellis spoke first, her voice strong and clear. "Yesterday, we discovered a plot that could have led our worlds to war. Today, we choose a different path. Music can hide messages of division, as Harlow showed us. But it can also create new possibilities for understanding, as Dr. Collins and our colonial musicians will now demonstrate." The hall grew silent as Ellis returned to her seat. Amara positioned her hands over her synth harp while her 3 new partners readied their instruments. She took a deep breath and nodded to them. Together, they began to play. The music started with 4 distinct voices, each playing in their own tradition, separate and different. But slowly, the patterns began to weave together, not erasing their differences, but finding ways for them to strengthen each other. Earth rhythms supported Centauri harmonies. Colonial electronic patterns gave new life to ancient Earth melodies. As the piece built to its conclusion, Amara could feel the audience's reaction. There was surprise, then understanding, then something more. Hope. The last notes hung in the air for a long moment before the hall erupted in applause. People stood, Earth and colonial citizens together, their barriers briefly forgotten in the shared experience of the music. Governor Ellis approached the stage, her face showing deep emotion. "This is the path forward," she announced to the audience and the billions watching. "Not through hidden codes and plans for attack, but through honest collaboration that respects our differences." As the applause continued, Amara realized that her music had done more than expose a plot. It had opened a door to a new future for both worlds. 1 week after the historic performance, Amara sat in a meeting room aboard the USS Harmony. The ship would return to Earth the next day, but important work remained to be done. Around the table sat Ambassador Fletcher, Captain Powell, Governor Ellis, and several officials from both Earth and the colonies. "The Joint Cultural Exchange Program has been approved by both governments," Fletcher announced. "Starting next month, musicians and artists from Earth and the colonies will begin regular visits. And Dr. Collins has agreed to lead the first official program," Governor Ellis added, smiling toward Amara. Amara nodded. "I'm honored by the opportunity. What happened here showed how powerful shared creative work can be in building understanding." Captain Powell looked at her data pad. "The investigation into Harlow and his co-conspirators is nearly complete. 17 people have been charged with plotting against Earth." "What will happen to them?" Amara asked. "They will face trial here in the colonies," Ellis explained. "As a show of trust, Earth has agreed not to demand their extradition. In return, we've accepted Earth observers for the legal process." Fletcher added, "It's an important first step in building a new legal framework between our worlds." Amara thought about Harlow, whose talent had been used for such destructive purposes. Has Harlow spoken about his role? Ellis sighed. He claims he didn't know the full plan. He believed his music was merely sending messages of independence, not military codes. Whether that's true or not will be determined at trial. His pride made him an easy target, Powell noted. The independence group flattered him, made him feel his music was revolutionary in more ways than one. The meeting continued with discussions of security protocols and future collaborations. When it ended, Amara remained seated as others filed out of the room. Lily stayed with her. "You seem troubled," Lily observed when they were alone. "I've been thinking about what makes people vulnerable to manipulation," Amara said. "Harlow mocked me for being blind. Yet he was the one who couldn't see how he was being used. His ego blinded him," Lily agreed. "And my physical blindness may have helped me hear what others missed," Amara said. There's a lesson there about different kinds of perception. Lily gathered their things. The farewell reception starts in an hour. The colonial musicians you worked with will be there. Amara smiled. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. Karen sent me some traditional Centauri folk melodies that have never been shared with Earth before. She wants to develop them together. As they walked through the station corridors, Amara noticed a difference in how people responded to her. Before the concert, she had sensed curiosity and sometimes pity when colonists realized she was blind. Now, she felt respect and even admiration in their greetings. The reception was held in the same hall where she had first met Harlow. This time the atmosphere was warm and genuine. Colonial and Earth citizens mingled freely, sharing stories and ideas. Karen, Dan, and Zoe greeted Amara enthusiastically when she arrived. There she is, Karen said, taking Amara's hand. The woman who changed everything. We changed it together, Amara corrected her. Individual talent is powerful, but collaboration creates something greater. Speaking of collaboration, Dan said, we've been working on extending the piece we performed. We'd like to show you what we've added. They moved to a quiet corner, where instruments had been set up. As they played, Amara noticed how they had built upon her original ideas but added distinctly Centauri elements that gave the music new depth. It's beautiful, she said when they finished. You've taken it in directions I wouldn't have imagined. That's why we need to keep working together, Zoe said. Each world has musical traditions the other needs to hear. Governor Ellis approached their group. I hate to interrupt, but there's something I'd like Dr. Collins to hear. She guided Amara to the center of the hall where a communication system had been set up. We're receiving messages from across the colonies. People who watched your performance want to share their thoughts. For the next half hour, Amara listened to voices from distant colonial settlements, families, students, workers, artists, all expressing how the music had affected them and given them hope for a new relationship between their worlds. A child's voice particularly moved her. I was born here and never saw Earth. I thought Earth, people were different from us. But when I heard your music together, I understood we're still one family just living in different homes. When the messages ended, Amara wiped tears from her eyes. Thank you for sharing those with me. Your music reached people in ways our political speeches never could, Ellis said. It bypassed old arguments and spoke directly to our shared humanity. Later that evening, as the reception wound down, Ambassador Fletcher found Amara by a viewport, where she was feeling the subtle vibrations of the station against the void of space. The USS Harmony leaves tomorrow, he said, but I hear you might stay longer. Amara nodded. Governor Ellis offered me a position as cultural liaison. I'd split my time between Earth and here, helping build the exchange program. Will you accept? I think I will, she said. There's important work to be done, and I seem to be in a unique position to help. Fletcher was quiet for a moment. When we planned this mission, we never imagined it would unfold like this. Your role was supposed to be minor, just one artist among many. Life rarely follows the score we write for it, Amara said with a sigh. The next morning, Amara stood in the docking bay as the USS Harmony prepared to depart. Captain Powell shook her hand firmly. You're doing the right thing by staying, Powell said. Your work here has just begun. I'll return to Earth in 3 months with the first group of colonial artists, Amara explained. By then we hope to have a full program of exchanges in place. And what about your music? Powell asked. Will you continue composing? More than ever, Amara replied. But differently now. What happened here changed how I think about music's purpose. After the Earth ship departed, Amara walked with Lily and her new colonial friends toward the cultural center where they would begin planning the exchange program. I've been thinking about a name for our first joint concert tour on Earth, Dan said. How about New Harmonies? Or Two Worlds, One Sound, suggested Zoe. Amara smiled as she listened to their ideas. The woman who had been mocked by a famous pianist for her blindness was now helping Two Worlds see a new future. Her fingers itched to touch her synth harp, to capture this moment in music. In the station orbiting a distant star, humans from separated Worlds walked together and planned a shared future, and at the heart of their new connection was the understanding that their differences, like different notes in music, could create harmony rather than discord. Amara Collins, who had never seen the stars but could feel their vibrations, had helped humanity remember that looking outward to new worlds didn't mean forgetting what made them one people. In music, as in life, unity didn't require uniformity. It required understanding how different voices could strengthen each other, and that was a lesson worth sharing across the stars.